Give me the child, do you hear? It's a child of sin, I'll save it!
Try to touch us, I'll go to hell, but I won't give the baby up!
Want to hear what happens next? Please subscribe to the channel, hit like, and after listening, leave a comment. The continuation is already waiting. The darkness around me feels like it's swallowing me, but in the distance, between the trees, little lights flicker, the lanterns of those chasing me. My heart pounds so loud it feels like it might leap out of my chest. I press the bundle with the baby to me, trying desperately to breathe more quietly. The little one closes his eyes after a brief cry, but I know, if he cries again, they will find us at once. I run barefoot over the cold grass behind the stable, each step echoing pain through my exhausted body. The birth was hard and sudden, but I have no right to stop. Behind me, I hear voices, angry and alarmed. Rachel, my father's low voice cracks the night silence. Stop now. His words lash me like a whip, but I do not stop. Ahead, a band of moonlight means the edge of our field. Beyond it, the woods and safety. Daniel is waiting there. I believe he is close, just as he promised. A few more steps. Behind me, heavy footsteps thud. Desperation gives me strength, though my legs are shaking. The only thing that matters is saving my son. My sin no longer matters, only that the child is safe. A dark figure appears ahead by the old apple tree. My heart freezes. Is it him? I almost cry out in relief, but suddenly a rough hand grabs my shoulder. I turn and a blinding beam hits my eyes. Shadows in black hats and jackets gather around me. I hear the furious voice of Jonas, my betrothed. You will not escape now. I clutch my son tighter to my chest and glance around for any way out at all. But there are dark figures everywhere, angry and unyielding. My gaze slips back to the apple tree where the silhouette had been. Now it is empty, only branches swaying in the wind. Hopelessness grips me in icy arms. Footsteps draw near. I hold the child and, trembling, begin to pray for a miracle. 6 months earlier. I stand by the well behind our house at dawn. The morning air is cool and fresh. A light mist lies over the field. Water sloshes in the bucket I have just pulled up, and suddenly my stomach rebels again. Nausea. I duck behind the bushes and retch for the second time that morning. My hands press into grass wet with dew as I try to steady my breathing. Dark specks drift before my eyes. If only no one sees, darts through my head. Rachel, a familiar voice calls softly behind me. I hurriedly wipe my mouth with the edge of my apron and turn. Hannah, my closest friend and neighbor, peers over the fence. Worry shines in her light eyes. Are you sick? She asks, stepping over the low rail and coming closer. You've looked pale for 2 days. I wave it off, trying to act as if it's nothing. I'm fine, I manage, though my voice betrays a tremor. Just my stomach. Maybe yesterday's milk was sour. Hannah stops a step away. Her gaze drops to the bucket lying overturned on the ground, then rises to me, intent, searching. Rachel, her voice holds sympathy and fear. Is it what I think? My heart drops. I lower my eyes, not knowing what to say. I cannot lie to her. Hannah is too kind to me and, frankly, too perceptive. She hesitantly takes my hand. Her fingers are cold from the morning chill, but the touch steadies me. You know you can trust me, she says softly. We've shared everything since we were children. Joy and trouble. If something happened, I will help. Tears sting my eyes. My throat tightens. How I long to speak. Carrying this for weeks has become unbearable. I whisper, barely audible. Hannah, She gently slips an arm around my shoulders. You're pregnant, aren't you? The words hang in the cold air, and it feels like the whole world can hear them. I flinch and let out a quiet sob, hiding my face on her shoulder. She does not push me away, she holds me tighter. Oh, Rachel, Hannah sighs, stroking my back. How did it come to this? When my crying eases, Hannah carefully asks, was it with Jonas? I shake my head, wiping my eyes with the edge of my white cap. My betrothed has nothing to do with this. Hannah's face drains even more. Then who did you? She does not finish, but I know what she means. Fear and shame chill my chest. Still, I must tell her the truth. I cannot carry this alone anymore. It was Daniel. I barely force out the name that burns on my tongue. Hannah's eyes fly wide. Her fingers tighten on my shoulder without meaning to. That Daniel? The one the church shunned? I nod faintly. She covers her mouth with her hand, stunned. I see emotions battling in her eyes: shock, pity, fear. She glances toward the house to be sure no one is coming, then whispers, even quieter, "Rachel, that is a grave sin." Her words prick my heart like needles, though I know it myself. I drop my gaze, pressing my hands to my belly, still nearly flat under the dress and black apron. "I know," I whisper. I couldn't hold back. It was only once. Hannah looks at me with true sorrow. "Do you love him?" I close my eyes, remembering Daniel's warm brown eyes, the dimpled smile, the whisper of that night. My heart tightens painfully. "Yes," I breathe, "and he loves me." Hannah shakes her head sadly. "But he is an outcast. You know the church will never allow you to be together." I know. I know too well. Daniel was shunned 2 years ago. He refused to submit to certain rules, argued with the elder, and then simply left. They call him cursed. I was warned never to even speak to him, as with anyone who left. But I met him again by chance months ago at the town fair. He came up and greeted me, and I could not turn away. All the feelings I had buried deep flared like embers. "I didn't want this," I whisper through tears. "It just happened." Hannah sighs and smooths my hair, must from being sick. "Hush, don't cry. We have to think what to do." She carefully lays a hand on my belly. "How far along are you?" "Into the 3rd month," I say, still sniffling. "And no one noticed?" Hannah asks, surprised. "I try to eat less. I wear looser dresses. For now it doesn't show," I say. "But it won't work for long." Hannah nods, resolute. "We have to come up with something before it's discovered." She squeezes my hands in hers. "I'm with you, do you hear? I won't tell anyone. Whatever comes, I'll help however I can." A little of the weight lifts from my heart. I nod gratefully and hug her again. "Thank you," I whisper. The words snag in my throat, but I mean them. Without her, I would be lost. A few minutes later, we return to the yard. The sun has already climbed above the horizon. Chores await, or mother will grow suspicious. Hannah helps me lift the bucket and quietly walks me to the gate between our yards. "Hold on," she says softly before heading home. "I'll come by this evening, all right? We'll talk about what to do." I give her the faintest smile for the first time in many days. "All right." When I step inside, Mother is setting a pitcher of fresh milk on the table for breakfast. She casts me a quick look. "Where have you been?" she asks sternly. "It's time to pray before eating, and you are not here." I drop my eyes. "I'm sorry, Mother. I was carrying water and I lingered," I mumble. She narrows her eyes, studying my face. "You look pale. Are you unwell?" "No, just a little lightheaded," I say, avoiding her gaze. "I'm fine now." Father, already at the table, raps his fist impatiently on the wood. "Let us sit." I hurry to my place. Mother, still watching me with suspicion, sits as well. We bow our heads to pray. Father quietly thanks God for bread and milk. I listen and feel a wave of shame wash over me. My father is so devout. He has always said the greatest joy is to see his children walk in truth. And I, what have I done? After the prayer, we eat in silence, as is our way. I try to swallow something so as not to draw attention, but the food barely goes down. Mother keeps shooting me wary glances. I fear she senses something. A mother's heart is sharp in such things. After breakfast, Father and my brothers go to mend the pasture fence. I start on the housework, sweep the floor, wash the dishes. Mother is working beside me, and I feel her tight, wordless tension. At last, she breaks the silence. "What is going on with you, child?" "Nothing," I answer too quickly, setting a washed bowl on the shelf. Mother puts her hands on her hips. Do not lie to me. For weeks you have not been yourself. I see it. You cry at night, you've stopped eating, and today you can barely stand. Her words frighten me. Has she truly understood? My heart hammers. I set the towel down and meet her eyes. In them I see worry and hope, a hope that I will dispel her fears. Mother, I truly am all right, I say as evenly as I can. Just nerves. I'm anxious before the wedding. That was a mistake mentioning the wedding. Mother's face tightens further. Anxious before the wedding, she repeats. Or do you have a reason to be anxious? I understand what she implies. She suspects. Perhaps she is not certain, but her heart is troubled. I must calm her, or everything is lost. It's just that many changes are coming, I say, trying to smile. Soon I'll move in with Jonas's family. A new home, new duties. It's natural to be a little nervous, isn't it? Mother studies me for a long moment, then sighs. Of course it is natural. Her voice softens a little. But remember, the most important thing is to be honest before God and your husband. Keep your conscience clean, and your home will be strong. A sob almost escapes me. A clean conscience. Mother, if only you knew how hard it is to breathe under this weight. I only nod and go back to scrubbing a bowl that is already clean. Mother says nothing more, but I can tell her suspicions remain. That evening, as promised, Hannah comes by. We sit on the bench under the pear tree, tucked into the shade where no one can see us from the windows. I've been thinking about your situation all day, she says quietly, careful that no one overhears. I have an idea. I look at her questioningly. What if you and Daniel run away, she whispers. Before anyone knows, just go far away before your belly begins to show. I lower my eyes. The idea of running has surfaced in my mind more than once to flee with the man I love and escape this fear. But obstacles crowd in. Where would we go? With what money would we live? Worst of all, leaving my home and breaking with my family forever. Do I have the courage? I don't know, I answer softly. I'm afraid. Hannah gives my hand a gentle squeeze. I understand. It's very hard. But otherwise they will crush you, Rachel. Not your body, but your life here will be over. Her truth tightens my chest. She says what I dread to admit. If it is revealed that I am pregnant by an outcast, they will drive me out. What if we hide it somehow, I whisper. Maybe they could think the child is Jonas's. Hannah lifts her shoulders sadly. Only if you convince Jonas to marry sooner and, she trails off, embarrassed. I know what she means, pretend the child was conceived after the wedding. That would mean betraying Jonas again by lying to him. He is not a fool, he knows we have not been together. No, I say, shaking my head. Impossible. Jonas is kind, but he will never forgive me if he finds out. Hannah sighs softly. Most likely, yes, and if you lie to everyone, that is an even greater sin. We fall silent. Above us, the pear leaves rustle, and the sun sets, painting the sky over the fields gold and rose. On any other evening, I would admire it. Now only cold inside. We have to tell Daniel, Hannah says suddenly. He must know. It is his child, too. I've thought of that, I answer. But how? A letter, maybe. He lives somewhere in town. I don't know the exact address. I have no phone, and asking to use one, you know we aren't supposed to call without need. In our community, phones are shared and only for business. Personal calls are not outright forbidden, but they are frowned upon. A girl making calls that would draw suspicion at once. Hannah brightens. My cousins are going to the market in Lancaster tomorrow. There are buses from there all the time. If Daniel is nearby, someone could pass the letter to him, or at least leave it at the post. I seize on the idea. Yes, I can write a short letter saying I must see him. I could set the meeting behind the Schultz's farm by the old mill. No one goes there in the evenings. Hannah nods, hope shining in her eyes. He will come. If he loves you, he will come. Warmth flickers in my heart. To see Daniel, I long for it and fear it at once. I fear looking into his eyes. What if he is not glad about the child? What if he blames me? No, Daniel is not like that. He is honorable. He will not abandon me. He must not. I'll write now, I say, standing. Can you pass the letter without being noticed? Of course, she smiles. I'll say it's for a town acquaintance. No one will ask. We quickly settle the details. I will write the letter tonight. In the morning, Hannah will give it to her relatives heading to town. They will not know the contents, only that it must reach my addressee if he appears at the post or the inn. I do not know whether Daniel is in Lancaster now or has gone farther. After being shunned, he has had no contact with our people. But there is a chance. That night, by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, I write a small letter. Daniel, it is Rachel. I have something very important to tell you. I will wait for you by the old mill behind the Schultz's farm this coming Wednesday after sunset. Please come. I am afraid and have no one else to turn to. Yours are. I dare not explain more. What if someone intercepts it? When the ink dries, I tuck the folded note under my pillow, and still I lie awake for a long time. Hope, despair, and fear of what lies ahead churn inside me. Days pass until the Wednesday I await with dread and hope. In the evening, I put on a dark dress and a black shawl to blend with the night and slip out quietly. The family is already resting after supper, so no one notices me glide through the garden and out to the field. The night is warm and starry. I take the path between towering corn that whispers above my head. My heart hammers. Will Daniel come? Did he get my letter? And if not, what then? The old mill by the Schultz's farm stands at the edge of our settlement beyond a small ravine. Once its sails turned in the wind to grind grain, now the building is run down and empty. It is quiet and deserted here, only crickets rasp in the grass. I reach the mill's time-blackened wooden wall. I cannot go farther. My parents forbid us to cross the ravine. Beyond is the road and the outside world. But tonight I crossed that unseen line. My soul strains toward the man I love despite my fear. I look around for his shape in the dark. At first I see no one. Anxiety grows. Perhaps he did not come. Perhaps he never got the letter or could not get away. Suddenly a figure steps from behind a great oak. My heart leaps. I know his walk even in the dark. Rachel, his quiet call reaches me. Daniel, I answer in a half-whisper. We hurry to each other. I barely keep from crying with relief as he embraces me. For the first time in weeks, I feel safe in his arms. I pull back a little and look at his face in the faint moonlight. He has changed, more manly, sharper cheekbones, a hint of stubble on his chin. But his eyes, those same familiar brown eyes I drown in, now they are full of worry. Rachel, my love, he whispers, touching my cheek. What happened? Your letter sounded. I could hardly wait for today. My throat is dry. I lower my gaze, resting my brow against his chest. I need your help very much, I say softly. I don't even know where to begin. He eases me back to see my eyes. Tell me plain. His voice is gentle but firm. I draw a deep breath of cool air. I am pregnant, Daniel. He flinches, barely, his hand on my shoulder tightening for an instant. In his eyes, surprise and a rush of thoughts. I hold still, not looking away, though I want to close my eyes and hide from his reaction. Are you certain? He asks in a whisper after a long pause. Certain, I nod. It has been 3 months since I cannot finish. My voice breaks. Tears well. He grows grave, but there is no disgust or anger in his look, only deep concern. Why did you not write sooner? You must have been alone with this. He draws me to his chest again, stroking my hair. My poor girl, it must have been so hard. Forgive me for not being there. I cannot hold back. I cry quietly, gripping the fabric of his jacket. I was afraid, I sob. I did not know how to reach you, and I was ashamed. Hush, he soothes, rocking me gently until the first wave passes. Then he lifts my chin. You are not alone now. I am here. I nod through tears. What shall we do, Daniel? They will see soon. Mother already suspects, and Jonas. At my fiance's name, Daniel's face tightens. Does Jonas know? Not yet. But he senses something, I say. The wedding was to be in a few months, and I keep refusing to set a date. He is angry. Daniel mutters a curse under his breath, the first I have ever heard from him. If not for that engagement, why have your parents not broken it? You clearly do not want him. They know nothing about us, I sigh. They thought I would be well with Jonas. He is not a bad man, he was my friend. I simply do not love him. And now. Rachel, listen. Daniel takes my hands. The most important thing now is you and the child. Our child. He says it with such warmth that I almost cry again, this time with relief. He claims the child is his. He will not cast us off. I will not leave you, he goes on, but we must think how to keep you safe. Your father, the community, they will tear you apart if they find out. The word chills me, but he is right. They will not tear my body, of course, but they will not let me live. Hannah, my friend, suggested we run, I say quietly. Run, he thinks. I could take you now. I have a little money from work. We could rent a place in town or go further. I will find work. You can carry the child. His eyes spark with resolve, but I see a shadow of doubt. This is sudden and hard. But you fear leaving your family? He asks gently. I sigh and rest my head on his shoulder. They will never forgive me. Mother, it will break her heart. But if they find out, they will cast me out anyway. Yes, there is not much choice, he nods. And your father, do you think he might do something worse? I know what he means. Would my father raise a hand to me, do something harsh? I never wondered before, but now I am not sure. He is devout, but very strict. His anger is frightening, though he has not beaten us before. But such shame before the community, who knows? I do not know, I say honestly. I hope not. But he will surely disown me. Daniel kisses my forehead. Then we must get you away before it is too late. He steps back a little, searching my eyes. Will you go with me? Leave all this? The question sounds solemn and painful. My chest aches. To leave home, I glance at the dark sky. God, is this truly my path? But I am not alone anymore. Inside me is a child, the fruit of our love. I must think of him and of a future with Daniel, if such a future can be. My voice trembles, but I swallow the fear. I will go with you. He exhales and pulls me close, kissing my hair. Thank you, my love. I promise you will not regret it. I will do everything to make you happy. I feel his heart racing beneath his shirt. He must be afraid too. He knows he is taking me from my family, likely forever. We stand holding each other a long time, then turn to practical matters, when and how to flee. Daniel says that at the beginning of September his boss will send him with a shipment near our area. He works as a truck driver. That will be near my term. Perhaps sooner, I worry. What if they uncover it before then? If they do, he says gravely, get word to me at once. I will come in the middle of the night if I must and take you. How will I get word to you? I sigh. I cannot write or call. Daniel thinks. In Lancaster, your people sell at the market. I can show up there every Saturday. If there is trouble, pass a message through one of the merchants. We will make it work. It is a flimsy plan, but we have no other. We decide this. If things stay calm, I will wait until the beginning of September. He will leave plain clothes for me somewhere nearby so I can change, and in the evening on the appointed day, he will drive to the same place, the old mill. And Jonas, Daniel asks, frowning, will he let you go? I do not know, I answer bitterly, but I must break the engagement before then. Otherwise, he would not marry a disgraced woman anyway. At those words, my hand goes to my belly. Daniel covers my hand with his. It will be all right, he murmurs. We will marry when we can, and our little one will have a family. I smile at him through tears and hug him one last time. I must go, I whisper. Thank you for coming. I was so afraid. Take care of yourself, my love. Weeks pass. My belly grows, and for a while I manage to hide it with loose clothing. But the hidden becomes seen. Jonas notices that I avoid closeness and any talk of the wedding. One day, after Sunday service, he walks into our house determined and asks to speak alone. We step behind the shed. He looks worried and angry. Rachel, tell me the truth. Do you not want to be my wife? Why do you keep putting off the date? I lower my eyes, unable to answer. The truth sticks in my throat, and I cannot lie. Have you fallen for someone else? He asks bitterly, searching my gaze. I can see you have become distant. I bite my lip and stay silent. Tears gather. Suddenly, Jonas grabs my hand. Rachel, you are hiding something. His hand moves near my waist. I back away, but it's too late. His fingers feel the firm curve of my belly beneath the folds of my dress. He jerks his hand back as if burned. His eyes fly wide. God help me, you are pregnant. I jerked back, covering my belly with my hands, and burst into tears. That was my answer. No, Jonas groaned, turning pale. He understood everything without words. His face flushed at once with anger and shame. Who? He snapped, grabbing my shoulders. Who did this? I kept silent, sobbing. Jonas shook me like a rag doll. Say the name, you unfaithful woman. Was it one of ours, or that cursed Englishman, Daniel? I flinched when I heard Daniel's name from Jonas's lips. My reaction must have confirmed it for him. Daniel, Jonas hissed. I knew you used to eye him. Please, don't tell anyone, I moaned, trying to pull free. Jonas, have mercy. Mercy? Jonas's face twisted. You made a fool of me in front of everyone. I was going to marry an impure woman. His words stabbed me with shame and hurt. Jonas let me go and stepped back, breathing in ragged gulps. I wrapped my arms around myself and lowered my head. I love him, I said quietly through tears. Silence. Jonas thundered so loud I recoiled. His eyes darted around as if searching for an exit. Then he muttered, Tomorrow I'm telling the presbyter everything. Let them decide what to do with you. No, I cried, pleading, dropping to my knees. Jonas, don't. But he was already backing away, looking at me with disgust. That's it. We're finished. He turned and nearly ran from the barn. I stayed on the ground, sobbing in despair. The next day I was summoned to speak with the elders. In the room by the church sat the presbyter, 2 elderly deacons, and my father. I stood before them with my head bowed, trembling inside. Rachel, the presbyter Isaac began gently but sternly, You know why you are here. I nodded silently. Brother Jonas has brought us an unfortunate report, he continued. Is it true you carry a child conceived outside marriage? Tears of shame ran down my cheeks. I answered barely audibly. It's true. My father ground his teeth, but said nothing, waiting for the presbyter's words. The child is not Jonas's, is it? The presbyter sighed heavily. Not his, I confirmed. Who is the father? One of the deacons asked. We must know. I kept silent. I would not give up Daniel under any circumstances. Rachel, my father's voice cracked like a whip. Name the man immediately, or else. I can't, I whispered, lifting my eyes. It doesn't matter. He is not from our community. So, an Englishman, burst from my father. His face burned with anger and shame. You defiled yourself with a heathen? I stood swallowing tears. Everyone already knew the truth anyway. Daughter, how could you fall so low? The presbyter shook his head and looked away. I repented, I said softly. God is my witness, I repented. But I cannot renounce this child and his father. My father stomped his foot in fury. Enough of this heresy. The presbyter raised his hand to stop him. Rachel, the senior deacon addressed me didactically. The Lord is merciful and forgives sins when the sinner truly repents. We want to save your soul. If you name the man and promise to sever all ties with him and confess before the congregation, we may still do something. You were baptized and vowed faithfulness to God and the church. Remember that. My tears flowed again. How could I repent of a feeling that was sacred to me? Yes, there was sin, but there was love too. They would not understand. I can't, I repeated only. I am guilty, but I cannot say more. Silence fell in the room. Only my father's heavy breathing broke it. The presbyter sat down heavily, his shoulders sinking. Then there is no other way. With sorrow, I must say that next Sunday we will announce your excommunication from the church. You will be given over to anathema and placed under Ordnung. All present nodded grimly. My father turned away, covering his face with his hand. I felt the ground slip from under my feet. Though I had expected it, my heart still quailed. Banishment, 6 months pregnant, into the cold. We are not driving you out this moment, the presbyter added darkly. Stay in your parents' home until childbirth. But no member of the community may speak with you or help you. If you come to your senses and repent, the church doors are open. I shook my head, crying again. Thank you, but I have said all I can. Then go, my father rasped, without looking at me. So I became an outcast, though formally still under my parents' roof. At home, they stopped talking to me. My mother silently placed a plate of food apart from the others, and I ate alone in the kitchen. My younger sisters and brother were frightened. They had been told not to come near me. When I entered a room, everyone walked out. It was worse than death. I would have preferred my father strike me or shout anything but this wall between us. A week later, my excommunication was announced in church. I was not present, but Hannah later told me they spoke terrible words about fornication, and that from now on I was like a pagan. Several times at night, I found little packages of food and medicine for nausea by my bed. Hannah had slipped them to me in secret, at risk to herself. I was endlessly grateful. By the end of August, my condition worsened, and walking became hard. One evening, Hannah slipped in while everyone was outside and whispered. He wrote, "He'll be here in a week with the car at sunset, waiting by the mill." I shook my head in despair. It's hard for me to walk that far. Hannah squeezed my hands. I'll help. Just hold on until that day, all right? Or if it starts earlier, tell me, and I'll call him even now. I agreed. I gathered the last of my strength to wait for that day of escape. Every day I prayed the baby would not arrive early. But God decided otherwise. The labor pains began at dawn while everyone was still asleep. I had been lying awake, feeling heaviness and a dull ache in my back. Suddenly, a sharp spasm clenched my belly. I moaned softly so as not to wake my younger sisters in the nearby beds. Fear gripped me. Was it time already? The due date had not fully arrived. There were still about 2 weeks left. But clearly the baby would not wait. A few waves of pain came one after another. I realized I had to get out of the house, or there would be an uproar. Grabbing the small bag I had prepared with clean rags and water, I somehow stood. The floor swayed under my feet. First, I tapped quietly on the wall, our signal with Hannah in case I was unwell. Her house stood very near, and my room faced their side. I hoped my friend would hear. When the next contraction eased, I tiptoed out of the room and slipped through the entryway outside. The night cold hit my face, but my body, hot with pain, welcomed the chill. I did not take a lantern. The moon gave me just enough light. Slowly, bracing myself against the wall, I reached the old shed where I had decided to hide. There was hay and some safety from prying eyes. I had barely lowered myself onto a blanket spread on the hay when I heard a muffled rustle. A blade of light slipped through a crack between the boards. Someone was coming in quietly with a lantern. "Rachel," came Hannah's barely audible whisper. Thank God, she had heard my signal. I nearly cried with relief when I saw her silhouette. She quickly shut the old door and rushed to me. "Already?" she asked anxiously when she saw me contort with another contraction. I only nodded, grimacing with pain. Hannah slid a bucket of clean straw to brace me and settled beside me, rolling up her sleeves. "I'm here. It will be all right, do you hear?" she whispered, wiping the cold sweat from my forehead with a kerchief. Breathe deep breaths. I tried to follow her instructions. The pain grew stronger. The waves came fast. Hannah lit a small oil lamp she had brought to see better. Time lost its meaning. I sank into a fog of pain and strain. It felt like it would never end. Hannah tucked bundles under my back, held my hand, and murmured prayers. "Lord, help," I whispered over and over, barely aware of myself. At last, after about an hour of torment, I felt an overwhelming urge to push. Hannah sprang up, looked under my skirt, and exclaimed, "I see the head." With new strength, I bore down as hard as I could through the pain. Hannah supported me, coaxing, a little more, dear." Suddenly something went wrong. The look on Hannah's face turned frightened. "Rachel, he's stuck. I don't know what to do." She fumbled in confusion, and I understood the baby was not coming further. The pain became constant and exhausting. "We need to call someone," Hannah whispered in panic. "All right, I'll be right back. Just hold on, do you hear?" "And no, don't leave me," I groaned, but she had already grabbed the lantern. "I'll be quick," she said firmly. "I'll bring your mother. She knows what to do." What felt like eternities passed. In reality, perhaps about 10 minutes. At last the door creaked, and into the dim shed came Hannah and my mother with a lamp. My mother's face was white as a sheet. Shame and tears flooded me when I saw her. "Mother, forgive me," I whispered through a moan. "Hush," was all she said as she took charge at once. "Hannah, bring warm water and clean cloth." Hannah hurried off. My mother set down the lamp, came closer, examined me and the baby, whose head was still wedged. Her hands, usually so strict and unyielding, now trembled, yet worked with assurance. She adjusted something, slid her hands between my legs, and gently turned the child's shoulders. "Push, Rachel," she commanded firmly. With my last strength, I bore down, now crying out unrestrained. I no longer cared, who heard only to be freed from the terrible pain and deliver. And then a miracle. Relief flooded my body, and immediately a thin voice filled the night air. A newborn cry. "A boy!" Hannah breathed as she rushed back with a jug of water. My mother cut the cord deftly with a twine and lifted my child. He was wrinkled and reddish and wailed like a kitten. My heart exploded with love and relief. I held out my arms. "Give him to me." Mother looked at me uncertainly, then laid my son on my chest. I wrapped him in cloth and pulled him close, whispering through tears, "My little son, my little one." He gradually quieted on my breast, curling up and only hiccuping. I kissed his head, hardly believing it had happened, and he was alive. My joy did not last long. My mother suddenly started, remembering something. "We must get back home at once, before anyone." It was too late. Loud men's voices were already coming from the yard. "Where is she?" my father shouted. "Where is my daughter?" My mother and Hannah exchanged glances. "They've woken up," Hannah exhaled. "What do we do?" Mother turned to me quickly. "Rachel," she said quietly but firmly, "if you decided to run, do it now." I looked into her eyes, not expecting those words. Her gaze held both pain and love. "Take the child and go. Quickly." "Mother," I sobbed. I wanted so badly to throw my arms around her, but she had already stepped back. "Never forget that I love you, daughter. Now run," she whispered, and moved to meet my father's steps. Tears poured down my face. Hannah grabbed me under the arm, helping me stand. My legs buckled after labor, but I had strength because my son was in my arms and I had to save him. Hannah led me to the back door of the shed that opened straight into the field. "I'm with you," she said. "I'll take you to the ravine." We slipped outside just as my father entered the shed from the other side. I heard his stunned cry. "What is going on here?" "Quiet, the baby is sleeping," my mother said firmly, distracting him. There was no time to listen. Hannah and I, hand in hand, moved over the stubble toward the woods. I could barely put one foot in front of the other, but my friend nearly carried me, holding me tight by the shoulders. Behind us, in the darkness, someone suddenly shouted, "There they are." Looking back, we saw several lanterns racing closer. Hannah stopped. "From here you must go alone," she whispered urgently. "I'll distract them. Try to lead them off." "No," I cried in fear, but she was already pulling away. "Save the child, Rachel. Run to the woods, then to the old oak where you two met. He is likely waiting there," she said quickly, and, without wasting another second, dashed left, rustling through the grass. The lanterns changed direction at once, chasing the sound. I hoped they would think I had fled that way. Gathering the last of my strength, I ran straight for the dark wall of trees. My shadow leapt before me in the moonlight. I pressed my son to my chest as tightly as I could. He barely stirred, likely asleep, exhausted by the hard birth. My heart hammered wildly. I knew if I fell or stopped, we were finished. Voices rose behind me. "She's here, this way." They had realized they had split up in vain. Now they were after me. I was about 10 steps from the forest when a lantern's beam snatched me out of the darkness. "Stop," my father's voice roared. But I did not stop. I nearly reached the trees when a dark figure appeared from the right. For a second I thought Daniel, and was about to rush that way, but in the same moment a rough hand seized my shoulder. I cried out. Several figures closed around me from behind. Lanterns flickered on all sides, blinding me. I twisted, trying to shield the baby with my body. "Got you," Jonas rasped, squeezing my shoulder like pincers. His face was contorted with fury. "You won't escape me now." "Leave me," I moaned, trying to wrench free, but there was no chance. My father stood before me as if he saw not a daughter, but the devil. Two of our brawny neighbors from the community stood beside him. "How dare you shame us?" my father rasped. "A child by an Englishman, you traitor." "Give him here," Jonas suddenly said, grabbing my elbow and trying to pull the crying baby from my breast. "We'll take the child to decent people, and you." "No," I screamed, understanding his intent. "I won't." I clutched my baby tight. My son woke and cried loudly. "Listen to that voice," one man said with a nervous smile. "The child is not to blame. We should take him." "Yes," Jonas forced through his teeth. "She isn't worthy to be a mother. A WH." "Silence!" Another man, our neighbor, shouted suddenly. "Don't you dare curse, boy." Jonas fell silent, though his eyes blazed madly. My father stepped toward me. "Rachel," he said icy, "you are coming home and giving up the child. Do you understand?" I shook my head, edging back until the trunk of a tree pressed into my spine. "No, I won't. He is my son." "This child is the fruit of sin," my father proclaimed like a sermon. "But we can still save his soul. We will give him to a proper family, and you will bear your punishment." "You are sinning right now," I shouted in despair. "God did not command you to take a baby from his mother." My father raised his hand as if to strike me for my insolence. I squeezed my eyes shut, clutching my crying son. "Get away from her." A different voice suddenly pealed out low and loud. Everyone turned in shock. Out of the darkness stepped Daniel. He held a gun, pointed skyward. He must have fired into the air. I heard only the echo of a shot. "Lord," one neighbor crossed himself, "it's that outcast." "You!" Jonas roared and lunged at Daniel, but Daniel dropped the barrel, aiming straight at Jonas's feet. "One more step and I swear I will shoot," Daniel said coldly. I froze, stunned he had gone so far. Firing at people is a sin, and he was no killer. He was likely bluffing. The men stopped as well. Shock rippled an Amish man pointing a gun at people. Unheard of. But Daniel was no longer Amish. In the hush, only my son's sobs sounded. I could barely stand, but the sight of his father defending us gave me strength. "Let her go, Jacob," Daniel said to my father, "and don't lay a hand on anyone. Rachel is coming with me." "Never," my father bellowed. "She is my daughter, and you have no right to be here, cursed one." "You yourselves renounced her," Daniel answered evenly. "You proclaimed to the whole county that she is cast out and no longer your child." My father spat on the ground. "Get out, son of the devil. We will not give her up. Then I will have to use force, Daniel said firm. I knew he was bluffing too. He would never shoot my father. But in the darkness, with the weapon, he looked convincing. Our neighbors and Jonas stepped back. Jonas still would not yield. Rachel, come to your senses, he shouted to me. If you go with him, you will perish in sin. Your child will never know God. Anger flared in my chest. And if I stay, you will raise him to hate his own mother? No, Jonas. You are a decent man, but blinded by fanaticism. I will go with the one I love. Jonas recoiled as if I had struck him. My father clenched his teeth. Then go, shameless girl. You are no daughter of mine. Those words burned worse than a bullet. I swayed, fighting to keep my balance. Then I felt someone steady me from behind. Daniel had come to my side and put one arm around me, keeping the gun ready in the other. Rachel is under my protection now, he told my father. I am taking her and our son. Our son, my father ground out. He had not wanted to believe it. You animal. Enough, my mother suddenly cried, rushing out from behind the men. There was such force in her voice that everyone froze. Enough, all of you. We had not noticed her following. Now she walked straight to me. Her face was drawn, but her eyes shone with a strange calm. Mother looked at Daniel and gave him a slight nod. Then she reached her hands toward me. Daughter. Sobbing, I passed my son to her for a moment. She pressed her grandson to her chest, kissed him, and gave him back to me. May God keep you, she whispered, touching my forehead. Forgive me for everything. Mother, I could barely speak through my tears. Forgive me too. My father, recovering himself, tried to pull my mother back, but our neighbor stopped him with a hand on his shoulder. Let her be, Jacob. Enough for tonight. My father opened his mouth, then found no words. I saw only unspeakable anger and pain on his face. My mother stepped back to him and said quietly, She has decided. Let her go. My father stared at her as if he did not recognize her. Meanwhile, Daniel, without lowering the gun, began to edge away, guiding me with him. I looked at my mother and father one last time. They stood side by side, like stone. Behind them, Jonas's pale face, he turned away, head bowed. Hannah was nowhere in sight. She must have hidden when the confrontation began. Farewell, I whispered to everyone and to no one. No one answered. Daniel led me on into the dark. My legs would not obey me, everything blurred from exhaustion and tears. I do not even remember how we reached his pickup waiting beyond the hill by the highway. Only when he seated me, wrapped me in a blanket, and the engine rumbled did I come to. Daniel pulled onto the road, away from my former home. Through tears, I stared at the night beyond the window. I imagined my mother standing in the empty field, watching us go. My heart tore into grief on one side and hope on the other, that now everything would be different. 3 weeks passed. I sit by the window in a small room on the edge of town that has become Daniel's and my home. Outside, cars hum. The air smells of autumn and smoke. My son sleeps in a blanket on my lap. His cheek rests against my heart. I lightly stroke the soft fuzz on his head and gaze into the distance. On the little table lies a folded white cap, the one I wore from my youth as a sign of submission and purity. I no longer put it on. I wrote a letter home, though I know there may be no reply. In it, I asked my parents forgiveness and told them my son is named Samuel after my grandfather. Perhaps that will ease them a little. Daniel is at work now. He found a job in a garage as a mechanic. Every evening he comes home tired and smelling of smoke, but happy that we are together. We are not legally married yet, but he calls me his woman, and I call him my husband. In our hearts we are wed before God, even if the church does not recognize it. Of course, it is not always easy. I miss my mother. I often cry at night for my sisters and brother. I miss our songs and the soft clop of horse hooves, the wildflowers by our house. But then I look at little Samuel and I understand what all of this is for. Today is Sunday, and instead of going to church, I read the Bible alone in our room. I read aloud for my son and for myself. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Little Samuel stirs in his sleep as if he hears the words. I smile through tears and kiss his plump cheek. Amen, I whisper, looking at the pale blue autumn sky outside the window. Amen. Hit like and don't forget to subscribe. The next story will be even more intense. But if you are under 18, don't even think about clicking next.